Hello, and welcome back to the Seen by Few series in which we kind of go episode by episode for Gargoyles. And this time we are doing City of Stone. Was it 9, 10, 11, and 12, if I recall correctly? Yeah, that's right. And usually we kind of, give our score for per episode, but this is just, it's like one movie-ish for the most part. Like, near movie, I guess. Probably like 22-minute episodes, 4 of them in a row. You're getting about an hour and a half of content. So that's a movie. We figured we'd do it all as one, and then just talk about the entirety of whatever happens in any of the 4 episodes. So I guess be prepared that we're not doing... If you watched episode 9, watch 10, 11, 12 as well. And then be ready for spoilers. Ooh.
Nobody's watching this shit.
Yeah, but but then occasionally we talk about stuff that's going on in the future of Gargoyles. I tend to be vague-ish, but sometimes we drop shit about what might be upcoming.
Well, we'll also keep in mind that we're doing this from a perspective of someone who's recently seen the episodes.
Yeah, I watched them last year,
and someone who has not seen them since they came out on TV originally. Yeah.
So if he's got questions, and I'm like, "Do you want me to answer that?" And he says, "Yes, I'll answer it."
Most likely I won't, though, because it ruins the score. It ruins
some of the fun.
Yeah.
But I think there's one thing in this particular episode that is probably going to come up related to Owen.
Yes.
So
we could talk about that one.
Yeah, we could. Yeah. So Owen's what's going on with Owen? I guess that's a spoiler. That's probably going to come up at some point in time in this episode.
So you've been warned.
Yeah.
Kinda.
Yeah, I mean, beware of spoilers in general of the series, but I'm not going to tell you what happens in the finale or anything like that.
No, kinda going to tell you what happens in the finale. Well, at least
no,
finale.
I mean, not like season 2 or anything like that. So, yeah. Lance, shall we get to it?
Sure.
What would you rate the series of 4 episodes, City of Stone, part 1, 2, 3, and 4?
I would give this series a... I'm going to give it an 8.
Yeah, look at that.
Yep.
Pretty good.
Yep.
I think that's what this would be, essentially, was pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Well, I've got my nitpicks.
Oh, yeah. I mean, always. But it's again, kid show curve for the most part. It's a show made for children. That I think ages well to the point where you can watch it as an adult. But still, it's a kid show.
It does, but like an adult watching a show with a kid back in the day would have been like, the fuck?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, but we'll get to it. So, Nick, 0 through 10, what would you give the series?
This one's a 9.
A 9? Mm-hmm. Okay, I was close.
Yeah, because it's Demona backstory, and I like the Demona / Macbeth link that they have going on between them. I think it's interesting. And for my little kid brain, the first time I'd ever seen, 2 people linked together, that's so interesting.
Yeah, I originally had a 9. I should have.
Yeah.
Well,
I know
the Nick rule is to step it back.
Yeah.
So I did a 9 and was like, nah, and then did an 8.
I think there was one Demona episode, I don't remember at this point in time, in which you went high and I gave it low just because I think it was the Hudson one. You're like, it's got Demona in it, I'm going to throw it up a 9. I'm like, it's like a 7. And you're like, God damn it.
But it's kind of... I can give it 2 more points of whatever I think it is usually, because if it's a Demona episode. Mm-hmm. If it's anybody else...
I like Demona. She's still a trash bag of a person, but she's amusing to me.
Yeah. But, okay, here we go with spoilers.
Yes, be forewarned. Yeah. So, I don't think people need necessarily a recap, but, Demona's up to some shit. Mm-hmm. And, lays out the plan to turn everyone to stone. And
so, this is from a person who hadn't seen it in a while and just watched the episodes. So, essentially, the quick recap is Demona is going to make a deal with Xanatos to steal 1 minute of life from everyone who watches this broadcast to basically give him eternal life.
Yeah, and that's a big thing that Xanatos is after. He's got everything, but he's going to have to die eventually.
Right.
And that's not a thing that Xanatos wants, so he's going to try find out the ways to thwart death.
Right. So
and you've got this gargoyle who's been alive for a century centuries.
She's got to know what she's talking about, right?
And she's wields magic. So this is what I do to stay alive. Steal a minute from everybody on occasion.
You figured Owen would have been like, "Can I have a peeky peek at that page, though? Yeah, just a peeky peek."
I think that's part of the. I guess the thing we'll warn about. We talked about Owen is Puck.
Yes.
And I think I imagine if he took a peek at it, that would be not playing the role of Owen.
But she already knows, and he knows she knows.
But he's not Owen to help Xanatos per se. He's Owen because it's fun.
Right, but I'm just saying, she knows who he is. Mm-hmm. Because the second she gets like the upper hand on him, she's like, "You're the tricky one, so I'm locking you down right now."
Yeah.
So, because I did catch that, I know you were going to ask me that.
Yeah, that's hint number 2. Because during the mirror, she's like, "You serve the human."
Yes.
And then in this one, she's like, "You're the tricky one, so I gotta be ready for you."
Yeah. So, so Xanatos thinks that he's getting a deal of a lifetime of literally getting
a deal of lifetime.
Yeah, getting a long amount of life. And as it turns out, Demona's casting a spell to turn basically everyone into gargoyles during the day.
Yeah, statues.
Stone.
Yeah.
And the thing that I did not care for is they established that the 3 girls were the hags.
Yeah, the weird sisters.
Right. But it's like they don't say it because they look so different through everybody else's eyes, which I thought was a very good when they did like the point of view and how they look.
Yeah, and you see Macbeth seeing them as old hags, but Demona seeing them as old gargoyles. Or
yeah, and then like they were like floating angels to like I think Macbeth and stuff like that. Like they looked different. No matter whoever was staring at them, and I thought that was neat. Because they even went through pains of like putting the camera kind of where the character was standing, looking at them, and then that's very good detail.
That's good.
But they never say it because some could probably construe it as they were the three aspects of fate, But like usually fate is depicted as a young girl, a middle-aged woman, and an old woman when they were all basically the same age.
Yeah.
So that's where you would pick up that they're probably like the weird sisters.
Did you catch their names?
I didn't.
Luna, Celine, and Phoebe.
Okay, I don't.
They say it like briefly when they're watching like the TV as kind of the middle, like I guess teenage-ish women, maybe like 20-ish age women.
Oh yeah, and they're like, it's happening again. But even then, it's like it's happening again. And it's like, what is happening again? Like they don't really allude to what that is.
I think the thing happening again would be like the confrontation or whatever between Macbeth and Demona, and like, yep, they're coming back again to have like the clash of personalities or whatever.
Yeah, and then
some time for some more fun or whatever.
And they gave him a fuckery deal, but then there was a fuckery out on it too.
It's like an amazing deal for the most part.
Yeah, okay. We'll get to that,
yeah.
But so here's my nitpicks on the episode. Why did Macbeth wear the mask? It's fucking Macbeth.
Yeah, I know.
He's wearing the same clothes and talking like Macbeth.
Yeah, it's again. I think as an adult, you're like, oh, that's John Rhys Davies.
Yeah.
Maybe as a kid, you've only seen Macbeth twice.
Yeah, but even then,
he's got a very distinctive voice.
Yeah, I would have been like, Demona, it's me, the hunter, or something, But like, she even knew who he was.
Well, I think so. As for why did they put the mask on the character, like story-wise, I think it's why as a show writer would you put the mask on him? Like a kid figures out it's Macbeth, the kid feels smart.
Sure.
So that's cool. Why is Macbeth wearing the mask in the story? Just to piss her off.
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
That's just a thing to make, because he's done. He's ready to go. So if he puts the mask on and she sees him and like immediately goes for the kill, they're out.
Okay.
Deal complete. So I think it's just kind of that like little you're poking the bear.
Why didn't the mask have eye holes?
Again, I think that's more of the who is it? Ooh.
Because like it had it for Gilkingane, but it did not have it for her.
Yeah, like all the other ones do. They tend to, but I think that's just there for like so you don't see his eyes. Because even if you see Macbeth's gray eyebrows and all that, like, oh, it's Macbeth. At least keep some manner of subterfuge or whatever. Maybe a kid doesn't figure it out when he pulls the mask off. He's like, oh, it's Macbeth. I didn't see that coming.
Okay. All right. When Demona does the raw deal and goes and hides in the cave, like in that little bit of time, like before Goliath basically turns themselves to stone, or turns themselves to stone with the rest of his brothers.
So you mean like initially, like when the Vikings come and turn and she like just flies down.
They had a lot of her looking old in that.
Yeah, it's the animation fuck up.
Well, I was trying to figure out where exactly we were in the timeline, and then it was like, well, wait a minute, this is right after like this stuff is happening. She's still young Demona at this
Yeah,
point.
it's animation error.
Yeah, like they had a lot of her looking old, like with the sallow cheeks and everything, and then like old Demona. I thought old Demona looked cool.
Like when she had the white hair, or just the...
Yeah, like when she had the long white hair and like you could see she was kind of like droopy, but she was still like as lethal as she was when she was young.
I think it's the intent being she always has to run from the hunter at that point, so she's not quite as good. But it's still, I mean, you watch Hudson swing around a sword and shit.
That's true.
He's still pretty spry as an old man
for his old age. But yeah, but those were like the main things that bothered me.
Yeah, I mean the animation errors I think here don't do it any favors because it can be confusing.
Right.
And then it kind of also shows its hand sometimes too, because I mean, why is she older now? And then later on in the story, it's older Demona.
Yeah.
It kind of shows you what's going to come up in the episode a little bit.
So the other thing that really kind of got me was, and I hate to like start off this episode with like pew 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 and like everything, but
yeah,
her walking through the city busting statues, she's literally killing motherfuckers.
Oh yeah, this show's dark sometimes.
Like
when you can pull the camera back.
Yeah.
From people actually dying to show it's a statue being broken. It's brutal.
But I mean, like, you can't put bullets in the cartoon, but you can like make her like totally walking around like busting little girl statues and everything. Like she knocks the arms off of one of the statues.
Shoots the woman shopping and like blows her arms off.
Yeah, I was just like, what the like? I know to an adult they were just kind of like, oh, this pretty. Wait a minute. Little Teddy, do you know what's going on here? Yeah, she's knocking down statues. Yeah, sure, that's right.
Okay, way to go, buddy.
But it's like the one time when it's like the nighttime came and they were all like, huh, and showed up. I expected somebody to be like, oh shit,
oh shit. I think showing that makes it more real. Because I think you can get away with that because she's breaking statues and then you never cut back to see like bits of human flesh or something.
Well, so even at nighttime,
yeah, if the gargoyle's broken, they're still stone. They stay stone.
Yeah, so it's like I get that, but it's like when I realized she's just straight up murdering motherfuckers in the street.
Yeah. So two of the people she killed looked like Margot and Benjamin. You know the people. Give him give him your wallet, Benjamin.
Okay.
I think it was intended to be them, and then fans were like, "Don't do Margot and Brendan Ross." So they were eventually like, oh, "Okay, they just look like them, so they could bring them back."
Sure.
But I think their intent was to have Demona kill those two, and the ultimate raw deal that those poor people get.
That sucks. Oh man, they totally got served.
But they'll be back. They're alive.
Okay, well, thank God for that.
Yeah, I know.
I totally forgot about them until you just brought them up again.
Well, Margot is voiced by Marina Sirtis, so sometimes when you have her in an episode, you need this character filled. Like, yeah, I want you to do a voice. I'm sure sometimes you hear Ed Asner playing like a random guard or something like that, or I think even John Rhys Davies has done.
Keith David's done it.
Yeah, just ran because Keith David's also Morgan the Cop.
Yeah, it's yeah, I get it. Use what you got around there.
Give the one actor a little bit more money, which would be less than paying someone else entirely.
But yeah, the plus like the animators are like, I gotta put how many names in the ending title? Jesus.
Yeah.
But yeah, this series was really good. I thought it was a bit convoluted on the storyline with the I'm king. You'll be king. Your cousin kills you, and then
he'll be king. They'll be king. Yeah.
Yeah, and
but I think isn't that Macbeth's story? Convoluted as all hell.
I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm kind of
I'm bad at Shakespeare because I watched this and then I'm like, there's no gargoyles in Macbeth. I'm not watching that.
Yeah, I mean, it's I don't know. I don't have the appreciation for Shakespeare that some do, and I've seen plenty of movies based off Shakespeare plays where was it Much Ado About Nothing.
I've not actually seen that one.
10 Things I Hate About You, which is supposed to be The Taming of the Shrew.
Okay.
Then I think I seen some of the one where it was like they had gun swords or some shit. It was the modern day telling of Romeo and Juliet.
Oh, okay. I think the modern day telling of Romeo and Juliet was Romeo and Juliet, but with DiCaprio.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just Romeo. It was Romeo plus Juliet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Plus, there's that whole rumor that like William Shakespeare was a fraud. He was a drunkard and was basically taking credit for somebody else's stuff. Who knows? It's lost to time.
Yeah.
Could be true though.
Yeah, maybe.
Just like I've heard that J.K. Rowling didn't really write the Harry Potter series. She plagiarized it.
Maybe.
from somebody else.
Could be. I don't know.
Get down in the comments and let us know what you think. But yeah, these episodes had very good animation.
Beyond the occasional mess up.
Well, I mean, it's like watching in one episode. Like you and I have talked about it before, where it seems like a studio might have had something, and then you could tell when they switched studios. It seemed like all the studios were in one particular episode. And I think it was like the first one.
Yeah, maybe.
Or it's like the type of episode, the animation style kept switching back and forth just in one episode, like they cobbled one together almost.
Maybe.
I mean, I'm probably wrong, but it's just like, it was kind of jarring how like the animation style was in one particular way, and then it was kind of like, it moved to a different style, then a different style, then a different style. And I wasn't sure if they just had like an overabundance of money for that particular one, and they were just like putting in the extra panel work.
In City of Stone, or just
yes, in City of Stone. And
I guess I don't. The only thing I really noticed, I guess, was just sometimes Demona looked early too soon, or young too late, or whatever. Like it was just off. Like someone wrote down on the thing, forgot to mention middle Demona or something like that.
Well, just go back and watch like the first or second episode, and it's like you could see where it's like different styles. Because I didn't note it. It wasn't enough for me to like write it down or like tell you where like the transitions were between it, but it was enough to where I was just kind of like, okay, it seems like there's like a lot of money in this particular part, then not as much in this part. The idea of them like doing the point of view shots I thought was very interesting. Some of the little details like when Xanatos, when they're going and putting the gas in the atmosphere, and whenever he goes to land, instead of just going and then shutting the thing off, he always does a like that little
that's cool.
That's that little extra detail.
Or he's coming just a little bit too fast, so he's got to go up just a little bit to let himself drop.
Yeah, like I dig that. Like somebody cared enough about that show to make sure that they put those little tiny things. And the animation studios might have been like, you could save like $400 if we don't have to put this shit in. And he's like, put it in. It's probably the conversation never happened, but I can almost guarantee that somebody had to have been the person who was clutching the money bag, and was just like, we could save a lot of money if we take out these small details.
I'm sure that's true for so many shows where you're kind of like, we could make this really cool if we have some money.
yeah.
Our money. It's like, please, can we have funding?
You're seriously over budget. Well, we spent $10 on this episode. Again, over budget.
Over
$8.
Budget.
But yeah, no, I really enjoyed this one.
It's good. So you're also throwing off your list. Like the animation was great. Is that what your list was? The small details.
For the most part, yeah.
So what did you think of? So did you remember Macbeth and Demona being linked?
Vaguely. I remembered the episode was like, you fight like a demon. And then he gave her the name, and she's like, I like that. I remembered that bit. I remembered some of it in the episode where he was basically saying how they were linked. And like that kind of massaged my memory a little bit.
I like the callback, like in Enter Macbeth, like when Demona's like, know her, I named her, and well, you got to see it.
Yeah, and that's always nice to have that, and like I think that's the reason why I was just so over the moon about these cartoons when I was a kid, because like it wasn't just dumb action fighting and stuff like that. Like somebody put time in and made a storyline.
Yeah, it's they're episodic for the most part, but there's those constant callbacks. And if like you don't remember the callback, like at the start of the episode, hey, here's some stuff you might need
previously on Gargoyles.
Here's some stuff you need to know, and then they'll show you like an episode like 20 episodes ago or whatever, where they're like, we're bringing in Macbeth. Here's Macbeth's story up to this point.
Right.
That's at least vital for this little storyline that we got going on.
Yeah.
So you missed a week coming home from school or whatever, like, man, this is Macbeth episode here. In case you missed Macbeth, here's what's going on.
So there's always almost a previously in Gargoyles.
They tend to, unless it's a brand new story. But even then, they tend to throw something at the beginning.
Yeah. Well, it's like something's going to resurface. Like, hey kids, remember this thing? Since you're only getting one episode a week.
No, 5 a week.
Or 5 a week. Okay.
That's why there's so many. This thing they ordered a season. These were after school. You would come home after school Monday through Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it was only Monday through Thursday. I don't remember at this point. But essentially, you throw them all up there.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's only 4. Maybe that's why there's a 4-parter. You throw the Monday episode up, and then
I'm not sure.
I don't remember.
I don't remember either. It's been so long since I've been a kid. Many moons ago.
I think this thing has the original air date. September 18th, 19th, 20th, 21st. Yeah, look, 14th.
All right, so they only did 4 episodes that week.
11, 12, 13, 14, and then a gap. Yeah, so they do 4 episodes a week?
Okay, I guess maybe like Monday.
4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and then it would be Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Yeah, so Monday through Thursday.
So the Friday episode they probably played again on Monday to like remind you.
No, they wouldn't. They probably had a different show on the Monday or whatever, or on the Friday, because I think they tended to do like more adult programming or like not like more adult teenager shit on the Friday instead of stuff after school. I don't remember.
I don't remember.
It's been so long.
The only thing I do remember is I think kids back then had it a lot better than kids these days. Like Saturday mornings were great. You got up with your bowl of cereal, you sat down, you watched fucking cartoons from like 7 in the morning till like 11 o'clock.
I don't know. 'Cause kids can still do that. They're just in charge of it. So rather than sitting through stuff maybe you don't like, but maybe you learn to appreciate it, or maybe you still hate it. That show is on before the show you like, so you watch it. Not because you like the show, but because it's on before the one you want to watch.
I don't know. I think there's a certain kind of romantic aspect of that, you know? Like, it was... I think having it on demand is nice, but like...
I mean, I prefer it at this point.
Sure, but like having something to look forward to. Like, you know, it's coming on tomorrow at 4 o'clock. I can't wait until, like, there's something to that for me.
Yeah. And it's, I mean, it also has, like, a cutoff point, too. Because, like, you're at school, you're like, man, I can't wait to get home to watch the new episode of Gargoyles. You show up at home, it's on for 20 minutes, and then Gargoyles is done. You got to come back tomorrow for the next one. And then, now it's, if there's nothing else you're interested in, like, the Disney Channel or whatever, now it's time to go play with your toys, or play a computer game, or play Nintendo, or something like that, and go do something else.
Yeah, there's a certain amount. There's like, I think people are so impatient these days because everything is at your fingertips and everything is on demand now. Like if you want it, you can go out to the store and buy it, or you can, if you don't want to leave your house, it'll show up on your door doorstep the next day. I think one of the funniest jokes I heard back in the day was when you wanted to know something. I think it was Louis C.K. who said when you wanted to know a band's name, you were like, it's Joan Jett and you didn't know the Joan Jett and the whatever.
Yeah.
And then like months would go by and someone would be like, say the band name, and you're like, oh, that's it. That's the fucking name. And like you'd get this rush of endorphins. It's like you're finally rewarded for this information. And it's like, that's not a thing that happens anymore. And I'm not meaning to sound like back in my day, but I mean.
It's just, yeah. I mean, even just as an example just now, like, were they Monday through Thursday? Were they Monday through Friday? And it's Monday through Thursday.
And I think it makes us dumber, honestly.
I don't remember phone numbers because I can outsource it. But that also means now my brain can hold so many more episodes of TV or whatever else I'm doing. I can jam in there.
I can remember the latest stupid TikTok dance or some shit. Why did I go with that? God, I'm old. Jesus Christ.
But it's similar. People complained about books back in the day because why would you need to write it down? Just remember it. And now you're writing things down. Like, you don't need to write things down. Just keep it in your brain.
No,
people were. Literally. They complained about books. Because why do you need to write it? Just remember it. Like, the oral tradition or whatever. It's like, you don't write it down in a book. That's so stupid. Like, why do you need a book? Just remember it.
That would literally be like playing the longest version of the telephone game.
And that's what a lot of it was. It took great care or whatever to, like, you were the storyteller. You were the Hulu. You were the one that learned all the stories and told them to people. And now books came along and ruined your career.
Yeah, okay.
And man,
or you could just read it.
Books.
You could just read it from a fucking book.
But now they don't need you anymore. But so it's you gotta fucking change with the times. Like nowadays, like we don't need it to know like when did the War of 18 whatever happen. Like I don't need it. I can just look it up and there it is. And maybe you sound less stupid. And if the internet goes away, you are stupid. But
yeah,
it's not. You're not dumb because you're not dumb because you're dumb. It's you have less knowledge because you chose to spend it on something else.
I'm just telling you, one day when the AI is fucking like takes all that shit from us, and we're like, I need to call mom and make sure she's okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
Fuck, I don't know the number. Like...
I think the only number I know is mine. Because I actually occasionally have to give that one out.
I remember Amber's. I remember my mom's. I remember the phone number I had in the first house I ever lived at, 553-9080. Not mine anymore, I could say it. It's 5. It's fine.
You didn't give the area code either.
No.
And don't.
I'm not. Because the area code was one area code when I was a kid, and then it was like multiple area codes as I got older. So, but I mean, I remember that. Because, that was knowledge you had to have. But it's like, your number?
Yeah, I don't know.
Nope. Tim's? Nope. My mom's cell phone number? No.
It's like, I don't keep math in my head anymore, but I do remember pi to like 20-ish places. Mm-hmm. And just because.
Prove it.
3.1415926535897932338327950.
Is he right? To the math nerds that we have that watch this channel, he's going through it again. I've got him doubting himself.
Because I learned on a
on a phone apparently.
On a keypad
Calculator. Okay.
3.141592653589793233846264330. My fingers know it more than my brain. It's put the numbers to the beat.
I can't say anything. My brain vaguely remembers where all the keys are on the keyboard, but when I'm at work and I have to write notes, I'm staring at the keyboard going. Yeah, I could write really fast, but if I look up, it's horrible.
Yeah.
But yeah, this show, I know you said eventually it takes a turn into a brick wall.
That's the third season. Because they fired the main writer.
Okay, well,
and we got a lot of Gargoyles left before. I think was it 52 episodes? I think we got a bunch. We got a bunch.
As compared to the first season.
Yes, first season was 13 episodes. This one's 52.
Damn. Yeah. Okay. Well,
I mean, I guess it's a year's worth of shows if you're doing. No, it's less than that. It's 52 divided by 4. Look, let me outsource my math real quick. 13 weeks.
I mean, that's a pretty good chunk.
Yeah, 13
and then
weeks.
And then you just go through them again, and then go through them again. So it's like if you miss the episode, you have to wait 3 months. 3+ months, to get it. But if you're not watching this show, you need to.
It's good. It's still good. I like this one. I think there's a lot of fun. You see Macbeth's life over time and all, just like that. Dude, like, I thought Duncan was great, and then Duncan's like, but I gotta kill a king because one man and his son, because one day they're gonna come for my crown. So he does all that shit, and he's just breeding disloyalty because he fears disloyalty.
But to me, that whole part of the storyline was so silly.
But
it's like.
It's
bitches be throwing bitches off of castles a lot.
But they murder a lot of fucking people.
Yeah, but it's like, also, why did Demona stop and help? When she was going over and he went to grab her, and she, instead of taking out the hunter, she went over and helped him. Mm-hmm. She has no connection to them, and she hates humans at that point.
Well, I think that's kind of the thing, is you're seeing her slowly kind of go down, but kind of gain some foot back, and then kind of go back. You're seeing her kind of wrestle with, I think, who she is as a person. And
then she was so quick to fucking turn on Macbeth when it was
absolutely.
The English, they got rid of their gargoyles, and he's like, I have to think about it. He didn't be like, yeah, let's fucking execute these bitches.
To be fair, so what if you're chilling outside the room or something like that, and someone comes in we could kill Lance and take all of his money, and I'm like, and someone's like, don't kill Lance. I'm like, hey, give me a second. I need to think about this. If you hear that I have to think about killing you, wouldn't that call into question pretty much everything you know about me? Where someone let's just kill Lance, and I'm like, shut the fuck up, you motherfucker. I'm gonna call the police on you. You're seriously doing that shit? For me to be like, let me consider it.
So a wise king
has to consider
every options. Yes, but I would also think about every interaction that we've had in the past. Mm-hmm. If there was more good than bad, I would not be worried about you. Making the wrong decision.
I don't know. Maybe it's you being... I gotta consider this. What you have to consider, whether to betray me or not, whether to kill me to say, like, I need to save my kingdom while killing these people that have helped me
Yeah, but I mean...
gain power.
So you didn't tilt your hand. What if you came to me later and you're like, so this person's planning on killing you, I think we should kill them and take their money.
But it was... So the people that he's talking to are his advisors.
Mm-hmm.
So it'd be like, someone came to me and... Someone that maybe you don't have a connection to. Like, why the fuck do you care about what my kid thinks or whatever?
But it wasn't an emphatic yes.
It was the hesitation. And she's in Christ's position, like, all the time. She's waiting for the other shoe to drop.
She's bougie.
She's walking around looking at one shoe and going, where's that other fucking shoe? I know it's coming. And like 37 years, she's like, that shoe's still fucking coming. I can feel that shoe coming.
Give it up already. Give it a rest. Like, I don't know. It's just...
She's in Christ's position, and then she's always quick to throw the blame on someone else. Well, like, whenever anything goes wrong, like, it even does, like, in this episode, like, what have they done? Like, when she showed back up at the castle, she's like, what did I do? What did they do?
Yeah. I don't know. It's just... I want to like Demona. She just makes herself so unlikable.
Yeah, she's an awful person, but I still love her.
And then, but here's the big takeaway of something I really liked in these episodes. Mm-hmm. I liked that Xanatos said the one thing that's always bothered me. Mm-hmm. You know, I always wondered why I never smashed you guys. But it's like, because y'all are helped from time to time. Mm-hmm. And then, like, Goliath actually smiles at him and says, you are too.
Yeah, so are you.
You know, like, I dug that episode. Because Xanatos wasn't acting like complete and utter shit this episode.
So I think, for the most part, he wants power and he wants immortality. Mm-hmm. And he's not necessarily evil, per se. He's just driven in directions that are negative.
He's greedy.
He's very greedy.
So,
and he's got all the money. So what do you yearn for when you have all the money?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now you look at what's the last thing that you have that's limited? Time.
Yeah. Well.
And he, at that point in time, he didn't really care about people, but now he's starting to care about people too. Like, he's married to Fox. Now he's got to worry about wife. And so he's starting to learn. He's starting to gain other things that he gives a shit about, rather than just himself and how much power he has.
So if I was him, mm-hmm. I would strike a deal with Demona. Mm-hmm. I'd have Owen watch her like a fucking hawk, mm-hmm. and I'd have her use the Phoenix Crest to take me to the future.
She doesn't have it anymore.
Well, I mean, it's in the clock tower.
They don't know where they sleep.
Right now. But eventually they will. Mm-hmm. But I'm just saying, I would get the Phoenix Crest, go into the future, get me some of the fucking Star Trek meds and shit, where you live like 500 years or whatever.
And come back and...
Yeah. I mean,
he'll go to the future. Maybe that's what the thing is Xanatos eventually goes to the future and he's like, I guess I need to come up with a new name. Guess I'll be Jonathan Riker. And then Jonathan Riker is actually Xanatos.
Like, oh, yeah, okay, so he's in hiding at first, so he shaves off the beard.
Yeah, he's like, no one will recognize me like this. He's like, wait, I'm 200, 400 years in the future. I can grow this back.
And then when there's no heat on him whatsoever, he's like, okay, I'm gonna grow the beard back. And then like Deanna comes to him, and she's like, Jonathan. He's like, bitch, you sound familiar.
I know that voice.
Am I blown? Is my cover blown? And then Worf walks up and he's like, excuse me, Commander. And he's like, fuck.
I know. Damn it. Ah, shit.
Sorry. And then Data comes up and is like, excuse me, Commander. He's like, fuck, it's the tricky one. But yeah.
I guess he does know what Puck sounds like. Because he would have talked to Puck.
So Owen and Puck are different voices, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, still, they're not that different. So whoever...
I think it's he talked to Puck, and then instead of wishing for whatever, he's like, oh, why did she serve me? And then, and that intrigued him or whatever.
Yeah. So, does he know he's Puck?
I think so. Hey, I think he wouldn't have asked for... I don't think Owen would be serving him if he didn't ask for him to serve him.
So
we'll get to that.
I'd be like, look at the fucking spell, dick. She's fucked us over so many times. Just look at the spell. But I'm Owen. Give it a fucking rest, Puck. Like, I get it. Well, you're in character, but like, look at the spell.
That could be the thing. She could go and check out the spell, and he's like, no, that's it. And then she goes, flip, flip. And reads spell number 2.
It also could be like the difference between a sorcerer going up to a fucking wizard and just being like, what's in your spell book, nerd? And be like, here's my spells. It's like, oh, I could just cast it whenever I want to.
Yeah, which is entirely possible.
You doing a little studying? You doing a little study? Like, yeah, I guess that could be the difference.
Puck doesn't cast spells. Like, he doesn't go to a book and read them per se.
Yeah.
He knows magic.
It's all innate.
Yeah, he does his little rhyme and bam, 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 shit happens.
I beat you to the comments, fucker.
Yeah, but it's possible.
Oh, what? I mean, that's just my guess.
Yeah,
but,
that could be.
But yeah, the show is still
Good.
awesome.
I like the scene where because they mention Macbeth and Demona working together for like 37 years, something like that. And when Demona shows up and she's happy and she like picks him up and like twirls him around like, hey, she's like, oh, she's got friends. How different she could be if she like trusted people.
Yeah.
And then immediately after the next scene, she's like, I might kill her. And he's like, fine. Turn on you first.
How easily you slip back into that fucking role.
Again, I think that's after 37 years, you're finally like, maybe not all humans are bad. And it's like, maybe I'll turn on. And then you're just immediately like, nah, fuck that.
Yeah, it's like, you got up here a little early today. I parked in a gargoyle parking space. Treacherous human! Like, any excuse to fucking flippity flip-flop.
No, she's ready.
No, she's a bitch. I hate her.
Oh, I love her.
It's terrible.
She's great.
You just like the way she's drawn. Just admit it.
She's not bad. She's just drawn that way.
Yes. No, she's just straight bad, but she's drawn. Yeah, but yeah, if you're not watching this this cartoon, you need to get on it. It's on Disney Plus.
Yep. Speaking of how you should be watching it, do you want to guess what?
Oh, we're doing that?
Sure. Want to guess what this? Since we're doing just one.
Sure.
Do you want to guess any of the numbers? If you guess what any of the scores are for any.
Let's just do each of the episodes.
Okay. Part 1.
I'm gonna say it's a 7.6.
It's okay. What about number 2?
What are you gonna tell me?
That would tell you what the other ones are, aren't they?
Well, aren't they each like?
So you did lower.
Oh, well then tell me if I'm higher or lower. Yeah.
Yeah, you're lower.
I was lower than it.
You were lower than it.
Okay, part 2, episode 2. I'll say is a let's say 8.4.
You're a little high.
Okay.
Part 3.
Let's say 8.2.
That's on the money. And then
Boom.
Part 4.
Let's say 8.6.
Ooh, very close. 8.5. So 8.4, 0.2, 0.2, and then 0.5.
Okay.
All in the 8s.
I mean, it's
good.
It's fantastic.
It's a good one.
Well, so sometimes we're gonna be deadly honest here. So there's some nights where like if I'm behind, I've had a long week of work, and I'm running up to the edge of when we're supposed to record them. Some days I'll turn on the episodes and be kind of dreading.
It's because you're
watching.
You're not sure what you're getting. You're not feeling. Because again, some episodes are great, some are less.
Yeah, and I'm not sure what I'm getting. So sometimes it can be a slog if it's like a bad set of episodes, and then we're trying to do like at least 4.
Yeah, I think so we can actually get through them.
Right. I watched these last night at 10 o'clock at night while I was wanting to go to bed, but I just wanted to kind of get those done and then do the other thing that we're doing.
Yeah.
And I had no problem getting through all 4 episodes. I wasn't tired. I never fell asleep once, and I was actually like interested in getting into the next episode. So, well written series. It could have been a straight to DVD movie if they wanted it to be.
It's got intrigue because like what's up with the Fae? Like why are they even doing this shit? And to the point where Macbeth was like something that's brutal. Like they fall through, and then there's that rock with a jagged piece of metal, and Macbeth just picks her up and is like, I'm gonna drop her on this, and Goliath's like, quit it, stop it, you can't do it. Like I'm just so tired.
Then sleep. Yeah,
and I also like the sisters like holding down Demona's arms. It's just like tiny little girls, and she's like fighting against him, and it's just like they can't move at all.
Yeah. There's a lot to love there. Again, I'm really iffy on what's going on with the hags. Hopefully they explain it more later, because it seems like they're stoking up more shit than they're trying to fix, but they seem like they're trying to help. But they're the reason that there's some shit going on in the first place.
But I think it's, again, they're Fae. And I think Fae are just kind of, they're doing their own fucking thing.
They're complicated.
Yeah.
Well, still, it's kind of like if they didn't show up and start, hey, you could strike a deal with this guy, and y'all could do a thing, and he's like, I don't want to do a thing. Well, I'll be back.
Yeah, well, we'll convince you later.
I'll be back a little older when you're more desperate. Okay.
Yeah, I'll be back when you're older and maybe wiser, or at least more willing to, more desperate.
And it's like you're like right on the precipice. This guy needs your help now, and the hunter's still coming.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was. It's very enjoyable, but it's like even though the story there's a lot going on, fairly easy to follow. Mm-hmm. But it was just a very busy episode.
Yeah, like I said, I have a series of episodes. Do you remember the twists? Did you remember that when one dies, the other dies, and when one lives, the other lives?
Yeah, so Xanatos got... Demona got... No,
Macbeth got stabbed in the back.
Right.
Or was it Demona? It was Macbeth.
Well, Macbeth got stabbed in the back, and then they
Demona
both fell.
Yeah.
But she didn't get stabbed, so she gets back up, which means Macbeth gets back up. And it's like, as long as one's living, the other will live. You have to basically kill each other.
No, they even straight up say, like, they'll exist eternally until one kills the other. So I think if you shot them both at the exact same time, I think they still come back up because they didn't kill each other. The curse is one of them has to kill the other one.
And so if Macbeth would have dropped her ass on that thing, then...
He even said it, like, I'm tired. I've been alive for 900 some odd years. Like, check out.
It'd be a different cartoon altogether if he'd have did it.
Yeah, it would have been. Just I can imagine being like 900 years older, or 900 years old. Like, you were in exile when, like, your kid got usurped by like a king, and then you just get to watch your lineage disappear, and your country change around you, and just all the shit change around you. You're just like, I'm done.
And your girl promised to a dude you don't like. And that was the other thing that I thought was silly that I needed to point out. So Gilkingen gets slashed across the face.
Oh yeah,
and then he wears a mask with the same three slashes, so that he takes it off and they're in the same fucking place. And it's kind of like, the hunter, you're after me, but who sent you after me? And it's like, wait a minute.
Okay, you got the three slashes?
My son has a friend that has like that same... No, that's too coincidental. If anything, they should have did the thing where like the mask was like slashed, but then like he was like at least in the other direction.
I wonder if it's identifiable. I think it's a cool mask, like with the three slashes across the face. He looked kind of cool, and I kind of like that. Like when he finally goes up against Demona, and he's like, "You look at your work." And he's like, "Do you remember what you did to me?" She's like, "Yeah, I don't remember."
And she's like, "Oh, it was you." And it's like,
no, she's like, "I don't remember you."
Come on. But still, it's just like...
I like that she's like, I don't know who the hell you are. And then he gets to kind of die, like...
She's AKA, what's his name? All you meatbags look the same to me.
Oh, I was going to say the Street Fighter line. Like, when I rolled through your village, it was the worst day of your life. To me, it was Tuesday.
It was Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yeah. Raul Julia.
Yeah. So I walked through your stable to get your food and raked you across your face. It was a character-defining moment for you. Like, the entire course of your life was to hunt me. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. I slashed a kid. I'm like, man, tell teach you. Yeah. And then she fucked off and never thought of you again.
I don't remember, but I had a bit of... so apparently the Street Fighter movie was supposed to be something else.
Really?
So Mike at work told me, I think it was last week, that the Street Fighter movie was supposed to be something else that was less identifiable, but then they stuck Street Fighter characters in it to like go for that extra buck.
Yeah, to put the title on it.
Yeah.
Well, they've done that before with movies. If you've ever seen like part 2s of movies that have nothing to do with it, you know, there's an American Psycho Part 2, and it's like it's an entirely different movie, but rather than it being its own movie with its own story, they slapped American Psycho 2 in front of it.
And it's like a chick this time?
It was the one from that 70s show, Mila Kunis.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. There's a Kindergarten Cop too. It's got nothing to do with Kindergarten Cop, and it's got...
It was a tumor.
It's got Dolph Lundgren in it.
It's about the tumor.
Yeah. And again, it's completely utterly divorced. It's its own story, but they slapped a 2 on it so that you could go, rather than going like, here's another story of an FBI agent or whatever, like joining a school and thing, but it's slap... Oh, it's the same story. We're just going to slap Kindergarten Cop 2 on it, and now it's a sequel. It's not a sequel.
Tell me they're at least straight to DVDs.
Probably. I don't know I've never seen them.
That's more acceptable because I'd never even heard of them. I think I had heard about the American Psycho one only for the fact that it was Mila Kunis, but I've never seen it.
It's like the only link to the original one is in voiceover. her being like in voiceover saying like, I read about this guy who was apparently a great killer, which ruins the end of American. Again, I don't want to ruin.
It's
American
not
Psycho.
ambiguous at that point.
I don't want to ruin American Psycho if people haven't seen it, but it's obviously not connected.
We need to do a review of American Psycho.
Maybe.
It's a good movie.
It's okay.
Get down in the comments.
Yeah, I've seen it a few times before.
I've seen it twice.
I think I've seen
and
it.
And I wasn't
twice.
really paying a lot of attention.
I have. I watched it.
I only watched it for the... Hey, Dan!
That's good.
That part is so good.
Yeah, it's good. Is there anything else we want to add about the City of Stone?
I also went to an ATM downtown one day when I was at work with one of my coworkers, and when I was getting money out the ATM, I said, "Feed me a cat." And I looked around.
Feed me a stray cat.
And then I was like, I can't. And then my friend was like, what the fuck are you talking about? And I explained it, and he said, I'm too young. I've never seen that movie. And I felt really old and went back to my desk and cried for the rest of the day. No, there's nothing else that we can add to this particular episode.
You want to feel old?
Sure.
We're making a video on YouTube about how much we like a cartoon from 95.
That just means we're young at heart.
Yeah, sure. Or it means we never grew up.
It means I like watching these with my kid now because I want him to like some of the stuff I liked when I was a kid.
Like some of it. Don't hear him like all of it, but like some of it.
Yeah. True time at this point. I watched these by myself last night because my son was at his grandmother's house. So, but I still love the show. Mm-hmm. I still feel like I'm taking a walk down memory lane again. Mm-hmm. You know, if someone said they wanted us to do Tiny Toon Adventures, I'd be down for that. If someone said they wanted us to do Animaniacs, I'd be down for that. These were all shows I loved when they came on originally, and I was pretty sure I was a teenager when these shows came on. So, what's it? Gargoyles is, 85?
For a year, it's 95.
So, 95?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I was a teenager when these shows came on. But
so,
still, I've always loved animation and cartoons.
So, next up, if you're watching these along with us, make sure you're watching like Disney Plus or whatever. Because, as you can see, September 25th, September 28th, October 26th, November. So, this is out of order. Because the three that are outlined on here as episode 13, 14, 15, and 16 are not what's on Disney Plus as 13, 14, 15, and 16. We're going to get High Noon Outfoxed, Revelations, and something else. The Cage, I think.
Am I gonna have to watch them in a weird order?
No. So if you're watching them on if you're looking at your phone to be like, oh, which episode's up next? It's IMDb is not going to match what's on Disney Plus. Just watch what's on Disney Plus, and you'll get the right potential order. I think these might have been designed order. Like this is when the episodes should have come out, but they were aired different. So Disney Plus puts them as they would have aired, I guess.
Interesting. I did not know that.
I noticed it last year when I was watching through them. And I was going to IMDb to cause I've been keeping track of shit I watch. You know that. They maybe not, but I put in a spreadsheet when I watch something, and I'm like, I gave that a 7. So later I can go back and if he's like, hey Nick, what'd you think of a movie that you watched 2 years ago? I'm like, I don't remember. I liked it apparently. I wrote my opinion down, so I don't have to keep it up here.
Even
anymore.
the phone is keeping your memory of what you liked and what you didn't like.
But sometimes seeing that helps jog my memory.
One day your phone's gonna go out and be like, Nick, what'd you think of this episode? And you're gonna be like, my battery's dead.
No,
I don't know.
I looked at it before I came over.
I don't know.
But I started doing that because back in 2021, like I've said before, I'm like a movie a day, and I watched a movie a day. Last year was an episode of TV a day, and I did that, and it got to the point where I'm like, I just want to keep a log of all this shit. And for the last couple of years, I've seen over 365 movies and over 365 episodes of TV, and it just helped me to write that crap down.
Well, I mean, eventually, it's fun to go back and see, watch something and then see if your opinion changed, like.
So back in 2021, I watched. Is that the 21?
You put watch time, like what time you watched it?
That's how long. I spent 37,000 hours.
Damn.
2020? No, it's 2021.
No, it's 3,700 hours. It's not as bad as you think.
So, in episode 2021, I watched 375 movies and 658 episodes of TV.
Damn.
So, 41.15 days of that year were spent watching something.
Wow.
And then last year was the 2022. I watched 110 movies and 784 episodes of TV for a total of 26.14 days. And that was me taking it light.
That'd be you. You'd make a good Nielsen house.
What's that?
That's the people who pay you to watch TV and rate it.
I've not totaled up May yet, but
I don't think Nielsen House was Nielsen is like a thing anymore, but it might be. I don't know.
I've not totaled up all of because we're only 4 months in, and I've not done the whole total yet. But I've spent like 200 episodes of TV in these 4 months and 30-ish movies.
See, you think that we're just doing this for fun? My boy's over here putting in the work. He's putting in the work.
It's fun. I like keeping a log. Like if you're like, look at all the crap I watched, and you can each of those is episodes. That's what I watched in April. I watched a lot of Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt because that show is good, and Lance is going to watch it. No, he is, because one of these have you seen? I'm going to say 2 episodes of Unbreakable. I swear, at some point in time,
that breaks the format. Nope. Nope.
Haha, got you, bitch.
Breaks the format.
All right, I think we could put a wrap on these Gargoyle episodes. Good. Yeah. Good episode. You watch.
You watch. Make comment. Strong comment.
Press like.
Or subscribe.
If not already.
Give money.
All right. Bye, everybody.
See ya.